Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Robbins, and welcome to Life, Death, and the Space Between podcast. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and medium, and here we explore life, death, consciousness, and what it all means. Today, I have a ghost story for you. For those of you who are new to the podcast, ghost stories are your stories. It's my listeners' opportunity to share their stories of loved ones who have passed, who have perhaps contacted them in some way. They've had some incredible synchronicity that has opened them up, that has made them more curious about the spiritual universe in which we live in. So if you have a ghost story to share, please go to my website, dramyrobbins.com. You can share your ghost story. There's a link to share your ghost story. Make sure that when you do share your ghost story, that you make it long enough that it can be about a 3 to 5 minute at least episode. So that's about a page and a half of writing. And I'd love to hear from you all. So please reach out. Share your ghost stories, share any other stories that you have. And here is today's ghost story. My mom passed away in 2003 unexpectedly from a pulmonary embolism. The week following her death, I found 2 items that had been lost the previous year. The first was a gold earring that I found on the garage step that led to our den. We had used that door every day, and it was never there. The second item was my son's retainer, which he had lost. We looked high and low for it. The week after my mom died, I found it in the dryer. Again, we had used the dryer hundreds of times, and it was not there. But these are not my favorite stories. One of my favorites happened when my son was 8, several months after my mom had passed. In May of that year, he made his first communion. For his communion, my mother had given him a gold cross on a chain that he wore every day. My mom suddenly passed in February of the following year. The night she passed, there was a blizzard. The next day, my son and husband were outside shoveling snow. I was in bed, grief-stricken. My son came in to tell me he had lost the cross. He was so upset. The chain was still around his neck, but the cross was gone. Not having the strength to worry about it then, I told him to wait till the next day. I said, when the snow starts to melt, of course we will find it. We never did find that cross. About 1 or 2 months later, I thought what I was having was a dream. I was in bed, and this black figure walked in and took my hand. They opened my left hand and put something in it. They gripped my hand into a fist as if to say, "Hold this tight." When I awoke the next morning, I remembered this dream very clearly and thought how strange it was. Then I realized my hand was still in the fist. I opened it up, and there was the missing cross. I even had indentations in my hand from my nails from holding a fist all night. I asked my 3 children and my husband if anyone had put it there, and they all said no. This was a true miracle. I still have the cross, and I keep it in a safe place. My son, who wore the cross, also believes this was a miracle. I believe this was my mom bringing the cross back to us. Thank you so much for sharing this ghost story. Again, if anybody has a ghost story to share, please do so at dramyrobbins.com. Click on the link, share my ghost story, and we will record your ghost story. Anyway, everybody have a wonderful day. Like what you heard today and want to hear more? Wondering what comes next and what it all means? Head over to Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you get your podcasts and hit subscribe. Also, if you could take a minute to rate and review my podcast, I would really appreciate it. Stay tuned as we continue to explore life, death, and the space between.